What's up, Taiwan? I'm Ethan Liu with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's sudden decision to execute a first death row inmate in almost 5 years has attracted widespread condemnation from international rights groups. But local politicians, including Taiwan's president, have been quick to defend the country's use of the death penalty. Reese Ayers reports.
Late into the night of January 16th, at a detention centre in Taipei, a rare execution by firing squad. The inmate sentenced to die on death row since 2017 for a double murder and rape committed years earlier. It's the first time Taiwan has carried out an execution in almost 5 years, and is a decision that's attracted widespread international condemnation. In a harshly worded statement, Amnesty International called the execution shocking and cruel, and a huge setback for human rights in Taiwan, saying it violates the constitution and ignores an appeal to stop an execution that was still pending. Even the European Union chimed in, urging Taiwan to immediately apply a de facto moratorium on capital punishment. But lawmakers from across the political spectrum are defending Taiwan's right to exercise the death penalty. The Justice Ministry saying the sentencing followed proper procedure, a claim backed by President Lai Ching-te himself.
根据司法院宪法法庭的判决，死刑是合宪的，并没有违宪。因此，我非常希望社会大众能够支持法务部依法行政。同时，我也要向受害的家属表达慰问之意。
Despite its support among politicians in Taiwan, some opposition lawmakers have taken the execution as an opportunity to get political, with a KMT legislator accusing the ruling party of using capital punishment, which enjoys widespread support among the Taiwanese public too, as a political distraction.
之前他觉得民调上面没有问题的时候，他就不执行死刑，也不让法官判死刑。结果呢，今天民调出问题了。 就抓1-2个人出来，把他打掉。
Capital punishment has long been a contentious issue here in Taiwan. It was only last September that the country's 36 or so death row inmates brought the subject to the Constitutional Court, who ruled it only partially constitutional, saying that it should only be used in the most serious of cases. And Taiwan has used the death penalty very sparingly in recent years, with only 2 executions during Tsai Ing-wen's 8-year presidency. But with so much public support, and this most recent execution, all coming just days after another inmate's death sentence was upheld, it seems capital punishment is still very much an option for Taiwan's Justice Ministry, and all despite repeated calls from rights groups to abolish the practice altogether. Klein Wang, Joseph Wu, and Reese Ayers for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's defense minister welcomes incoming U.S. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz's statement that he wants to speed up weapons deliveries to the country.
We have over a $20 billion backlog of things that they paid for and that we need to work hard to free up and have them get what they paid for as a deterrent.
Waltz also said that U.S. President-elect Donald Trump is looking to strengthen ties with partners in the Asia-Pacific. Taiwan is still waiting to receive fighter jets, tanks, missiles, and other defense equipment from the U.S. Washington is Taipei's biggest weapons supplier, despite the two not having official diplomatic ties. The late former U.S. President Jimmy Carter was responsible for a major diplomatic decision that had long-lasting ramifications for Taiwan. But decades on, the winds have shifted in U.S. policy. Leslie Liao reports from Washington, D.C.
Here in the United States, flags all across the country are being flown at half-staff in memory of former President Jimmy Carter, who passed away late last month.
We are constantly exploring ways to have better relationships with China.
Carter's administration saw perhaps the most consequential time for Taiwan-U.S. ties. Under Carter, Washington broke official diplomatic ties with the government in Taipei in favor of Beijing. He then revoked a mutual defense treaty between the U.S. and Taiwan as well. Carter did this in hopes of fostering peaceful and strong ties between Washington and Beijing. But nearly 5 decades later, the winds have shifted. The U.S. and China are at odds militarily, diplomatically, and economically. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's incoming administration is expected to get tough on China. Potential incoming Secretary of State Marco Rubio is even calling China the biggest threat to U.S. interests. We've been speaking to a few analysts here in Washington, D.C., who are expecting the incoming administration to use economic means to deter Chinese aggression.
But very clearly, the priority is going to be on China as a rival, and that it is not just military, it's economic as well as it's societal. No surprises with Trump's first term. And what we're seeing potentially in the second, a return, the use of tariffs as an economic tool in negotiation to try a more comprehensive diplomacy.
Caught in the middle of the tug of war between the U.S. and China is Taiwan. Despite no official changes in Washington's relationship with Beijing since Carter's shift in 1979, the U.S. and Taiwan have since built flourishing unofficial ties, ties that both sides are hoping to strengthen. Leon Lian, Laurel Stewart, and Leslie Liao in Washington, D.C. for TaiwanPlus.
Americans are flocking to download one of China's most popular social media, Red Note, just days before a proposed ban on another Chinese-owned app, TikTok. It's become a rare shared space for Chinese and American internet users despite concerns over censorship. Cadence Garanta reports.
Xiaohongshu, it's nice to meet you. Thanks for taking me in, me and all my friends. I hope we don't break you.
Just days ahead of a proposed ban on TikTok in the U.S., over 500,000 Americans have flocked to a different Chinese app, Xiaohongshu, or Red Note in English. They call themselves TikTok refugees.
Ni hao, hi everybody. So I'm a TikTok refugee. I literally just got this app like an hour ago.
Red Note is one of China's most popular social media platforms and a go-to search engine for topics like travel, beauty, makeup, and fashion. Many Americans had never heard of it until a few days ago when some content creators on TikTok began downloading the app and telling their followers, with some saying it was out of spite towards the U.S. government for proposing a ban on TikTok over concerns China may use it for spying. That ban will go into effect on January 19th if the app's Chinese parent company does not sell it.
So someone on TikTok suggested that it would be funny if we all went to Red Note, Red Book here, because it's a 100% very much legitimately, definitely a Chinese app, just to prove that we don't care.
With the exodus of TikTok users to Red Note, it quickly became the #1 free app on the U.S. App Store.
The reason why I chose to Red Note is that some of my favorite creators, and not only favorite, but some of the creators where I feel like I can't get content like that anywhere else, so that they were moving to Red Note.
It's become an unexpected opportunity for Chinese and American people to interact organically. Users are asking one another about healthcare systems, work hours, and stereotypes. Some Chinese users are even asking for help on their English homework and offering to give American users Chinese names. Rare positive interactions at a time when tensions between the U.S. and China are high.
Today, what we have is we have regular users that are, for the first time ever, without VPNs and without a lot of, at this stage, curation or moderation. The American ordinary guys and Chinese ordinary guys are talking to each other directly.
And it seems for now, many Chinese users are also viewing these new American users positively.
Hey friends from TikTok, I am Abe from China, and I just want to say it's so amazing to have you here. For so long we haven't really been able to connect or talk to each other like this. But now we finally can, and it feels so special.
It's unclear if these exchanges will be allowed long-term. Social media platforms in China are subject to censorship, with private companies held liable if they don't adhere to the rules. Users can also be banned if they don't comply with strict guidelines. For now, Red Note is rushing to hire English-speaking moderators, scrambling to adapt so they can manage the deluge of so-called TikTok refugees. Andy Xue and Cadence Garanta for TaiwanPlus.
China's economy grew 5% last year, beating market expectations to meet the government's GDP target for the year. The world's second largest economy expanded by 5.4% in the fourth quarter, outperforming the results seen in the first 3 quarters. Economists say the rebound was the result of Beijing's year-end measures to boost growth. It's been just over 20 years since Thailand's tourist hotspot of Phuket was devastated by the Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami. And while the island's community and economy have bounded back in the 2 decades since, residents are now facing a new and growing problem. Jonathan Kaplan reports.
Thailand's Phuket Island, a jewel of the Andaman Sea, known for its white sand beaches, pulsing nightlife, and warm, inviting waters, drawing over 10 million visitors a year. But beneath the surface is a wasteland. The surge of post-pandemic tourism and explosion of development on the island is bringing with it a mounting challenge. Heaps of waste piling up out of the view of tourists. Phuket's economy is dependent on tourism, and visitors keep coming. From construction detritus to consumer plastics and food waste, the garbage just keeps coming, and the island's one trash incinerator is overwhelmed.
เอาไว้เนี่ยการเติบโตของเมืองเนี่ยมันก้าวกระโดดมากกว่าที่ควรจะเป็นเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยมันก็เลยอาจจะแปลเป็นวิกฤตทางการจัดการบริหารจัดการขยะในจังหวัดภูเก็ตเองซึ่งตอนนี้เองทางเทศบาลเองก็ต้องรองรับในส่วนของว่าเราพูดในลักษณะของวิกฤต worst case จริงๆว่าเราเองก็ต้องเตรียมพื้นที่ที่จะรองรับให้ได้ 1,400 ถึง 1,500 ตันต่อวันนะครับเพื่อที่จะรองรับไปในอีก 2-3 ปีข้างหน้าจนกว่าเตาเผาขยะใหม่จะสร้างเสร็จ
The small community of Sapan Hin used to have pristine views of rolling hills. Now, residents like Vasana and her 3 children look out upon a growing landfill that is spoiling more than just the scenery.
ชีวิตนอกบ้านไม่มีเลยอยู่แต่ในบ้านบางทีก็ใส่แมสนะมันหมิ่นเวลาหมิ่นเยอะมันเล็ดรอดมาต้องใส่แมสนะต้องเปิดแอร์เปิดเครื่องฟอกอากาศตลอดเวลาเลยค่าไฟนี่ขึ้นสูงมากแต่ละเดือนสูงถึง 6,000 อ่ะต่อเดือนใช่เพราะต้องเปิดตลอดเวลาทุกอย่าง
The government and private agencies are scrambling to find solutions. The island's second incinerator will be able to handle up to 500 tons of trash a day, but that's not till late 2026 at the earliest. Another plan is to convert some of the waste into a type of solid fuel. Hotels are promising to cut back on disposable products. In November 2024, the global regulatory body for sustainable tourism made a 5-day assessment of Phuket. They provided guidelines for it to achieve status as a sustainable tourism destination by 2026, but noted some stumbling blocks. Government-registered hotels are on board with waste reduction measures, but they only make up 30% of tourist accommodation.
But the others, not only the safety matters, how to regulate waste management, solid waste management, and other energy, water, the many other things. It's not regulated.
That lack of regulation makes getting control over the problem all the more difficult. The national government wants to see Phuket certified sustainable, a first for Thailand. And local authorities are trying to deal with the trash crisis. But a resolution could be years away. For families like Vasana's living next to an ever-growing landfill, the matter is urgent.
อยากให้ลูกมาวิ่งเล่นข้างนอกอยากให้แบบได้มาสูดอากาศบ้างค่ะลูกไม่ได้ออกมาเลยคนเล็กนี่คลอดมา3 เดือนไม่ได้ออกมาข้างนอกเลยไม่ได้ออกมาหน้าบ้านเลยขึ้นรถก็ออกไปข้างนอกหมู่บ้านเลยไม่ได้มานั่งอยู่ตรงนี้เลย
For now, one thing is certain. The deluge of tourists to Phuket will not let up. And with them, more money, more development, and more garbage. Kama Xu and Jonathan Kaplan for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching today's What's Up Taiwan. Finally, we take you to Madrid for this traditional Spanish festival where horses leap across purifying fires. I'm Ethan, take care, and I'll see you next time.